welcome to AddisDialogue. Today on the show, we'll be talking about Ethiopia's territorial integrity and sovereignty, especially as protected by the brave and indomitable National Defense Force of Ethiopia. In this regard, the Defense War College has been instrumental in providing adequate training and skills as part of its effort of creating skilled, well-informed, and proficient, as well as professional military personnel. My guest today is Brigadier General Bulti Tadesse. He is the Commandant of the Defense War College. Due status. Right. Thank you so much for making the time to talk to us on such an important topic.
Thank you very much. I'm also very happy.
Absolutely. So the Defense War College has been instrumental in providing education, training to the military here in Ethiopia and also overseas. How about we start our discussion with the major duties and responsibilities of the Defense War College in this regard?
Thank you very much for having me. Really, I'm also very happy. Really, Defense War College is one of an instrumental college which taught about the strategic leadership thinking and war in the war theories. Let me give you a small tip how this college was established. This college was established in 2019, especially after the reform of our new current regime. As you know, initially this college was not there here. From long period of time, this kind of training, special military professional, military education system was there here in the Zaire, but there is no such consolidated war college approach. So one of the reform, which is the birth of this college, is the reform which is created during the reform 2018 in our calendar. So war college is one of the prominent instrumental tool based on, number one, teaching, learning about security in the strategic instruments. This is number one. Secondly, it also teach about the theory of war in the war strategy at the national and international level by enhancing how the leadership is overseeing this idea. Okay. Number three, the college is given the train, especially the workshop, symposium, and the different kind of research which enhance and are given the consult for our leadership. Finally, one of the tasks given is creating a partnership with other different stakeholders and the scholars in the colleges. So in this regard, really, this war college is working so far a good approach. Number one, the college intake is from military, from police, from civilian, and from our neighbor-friendly countries, as you saw in different picture. Yes. In this regard, the college is staying for 10 months, extensive 10 months, because this is an adult education. Those who join this college has a practitioners. They are leaders. They have also a background from different technologies, from different professional academic backgrounds. So there is no as such academical discourse here. The good thing is giving a clue how the strategic theory, leadership in the war theory. So in that regard, those of our leaders who join here they are practitioners. They know the intent of our national security, the national interest, but giving the clue how they are perceiving the geostrategic concept. That is the Defense War College duties and responsibilities.
Wow, impressive, impressive. So lots of duties and responsibilities, obviously. This wonderful facility, the Defense War College, has been operational since 2019, right? Yeah. So how is the college providing trainings, especially in internal and regional peace and security, conflict resolution, military intelligence, and other matters that are relevant to defense?
Excellent. Because as I explained before, this college has taken the mandatory, the responsibility, training external, internal, especially the regional and the international, even politics, with different authorities. Especially training from internal is especially from our military defense, number one. Second, from police. Third, from regional authorities and the other security organs, like from all regions. That is the mandatory. Another thing is the intake is from outside, from neighbor countries, friendly countries. Why this is so is fundamentally the peace and the security and the strategic issue is not only from the military perspective. The issue is come from the civil-military cooperation coordination concept. You know, the civil-military cooperation coordination concept was initially entertained after the Cold War. During the Cold War, military was only the key player in war system. But after onward, the civilian and the other stakeholders, NGOs, other human elements are there in war in the war concepts. So in the concept of national security interests is not only safeguarded by military in the police. The civilian elements are there because the civilian is once they clear and they secure the environment, the civilian comes on board to put on administrative purposes. There is a close collaboration. The intent of this work college is the reason behind that one. Because other colleges could not do like that. It can be technology only, it can be field commander only, it can be a pilot, but even though that one, there is no an element of civil-military coordination concept. So that's why this college is coordinating all these dimensions. That is number one. Secondly, regarding with the regional issue, is very dynamic because, as you know, Ethiopia is found in the Horn of Africa in this very volatile ambiguity. No one understands what will be happen tomorrow, even now.
So unpredictable.
It is unpredictable, exactly, because this Horn of Africa has a lot of backlog with all things like terrorism, radicalism, and also a big power interest in the rivalries. All this should have to be taken into consider. Once Ethiopia has found this strategic place, how we are going to maintain our national interest? That is the question. So far, for a long period of time, according to some authority in the scholar, Ethiopia is intentionally marginalized from this Horn of Africa, especially the access of port, the access of the Red Sea. Because this is a big power, this is a big community, has a lot of human power, economic development, should have to have a regional interest, and also a power interest. Yes. So these big powers and the other revilers work on it in these regional interests. So Ethiopia is a key player in this regard. So that's why this college is also looking at, even our students, looking at the international relations, geopolitics, and it is ambiguity. No one predicts what will be happen tomorrow. So our leaders should have to know how they are doing that one, how they are planning, how they are analyzing with SWOT analysis, strengths, weakness, opportunity, in the threat in these regional interests. Not only that, what are those our historical enemies are looking for that one. So those of our enemies, not only working by themselves, they are collaboratively working hand in hand with internal and external actions. So we Ethiopians, especially the soldiers here in Defense War College, we deal on this matter, how we are going to tackle all these problems. So in that regard, really, we have a lot of things acquired so far. Not only that, for example, in sharing information, in sharing intelligence, we organize different kind of workshop, panels, symposium. This symposium and the panels were initially formulating in the policy formulation, not only for the sake of academic discourse, because academic discourse can be given in any university in the lecturers. But we develop a concept note in a such way that to enhance how Ethiopia is benefit from this intelligence and the information sharing from our neighbor countries as well as from internal matters. So this college playing a great role so far. Even we graduated so far about 201 graduate students, regular regular in the extension program at a different level. So this college has such kind of doing activities. Not only that, even this college was working with different stakeholders in regular teaching learning matters, in short-term course program, in need-based approach, and even calling upon the short-term training. For example, nowadays we have about 44 students in a class, regular as well as short class students. All these students were engaged in teaching learning process on these matters.
The college has this huge responsibility, national responsibility, and I presume that it is already discharging it successfully, which is really appreciable. So how is this college also equipping the military powers, the military personnel, and those in higher places and officials by properly equipping them with the necessary geopolitical interest of Ethiopia, especially when it comes to the Red Sea and also the Gulf of Aden?
Thank you very much. This is also a very interesting question. As you know, those of our students who join this college is number one is a higher officer. He or she knows what is the national interest of our country, what Ethiopia needs, what is the instrument of national powers. They know very well, especially after they graduate here. Some of them are commanders now, special direct commanders. Some of them were engaged in peacekeeping as a commander. Some of them were also appointed in different areas as a military attaché, engaging and entertaining the interest of an Ethiopian national interests. That is number one, as a diplomatic affairs. That is number one. Secondly, our higher officers also, what are Ethiopian national interests is practically, because Ethiopia is a huge country. Ethiopia is a big country. Right. No one denies this one. But the thing is how we are going to acquire and the benefit from this. Secondly, Ethiopian national powers also should have to be exercised. Right. Ethiopian national power so far is, especially the military component, is playing a great role in the great Horn of Africa, especially in Red Sea, in the Gulf of Aden. Yes. You know, military is the last resort. Right. Information may be gathered from here and there. Diplomacy can be working as a soft power. But if a soft power is failed, what comes? The hard power is coming on board. Not only that, our military, equipped with this kind of a mental and the skill and the attitude, having to defend these national interests. To be frank, this is practically in the Red Sea, in the Gulf of Aden, and even the Horn, when Al-Shabaab in the terrorism direct attack, for example, Ethiopia during the infiltration to Ethiopian from the Somali. That is why we Ethiopians, we know our national interest, we know how to defend and how to protect our national security interests in the territorial integrity. So in this regard, in the future, not only in the future, right now, Ethiopia military force with other security organs, with other civilian administrative organs, we worked hand in hand. Not only that, in diplomatic perspective, our regional or our neighbors worked together in different kind of seminars at the diplomatic level. Okay. This diplomatic level is a leverage also for our diplomacy. For example, recently there is a border commission meeting with Djibouti. The same is true with others. This kind of engagement is working for protecting those of infiltration a piracy, small arms, and human traffickers especially. So this is also one of our security threats for our country. Our soldiers, higher officers, also learn all these matters. So when it engaged at different point of area, this military officer know what is good for Ethiopia and how they are working together in conquer with civilian and other interest organ. So in that regard, really, Defense War College is empowering our different military leader with a concept of skill, a concept of attitude, and a concept of behavior.
Military professionalism.
Military professionalism, exactly. Especially the skill. What do you mean the skill? For example, the skill of leading, the skill of organizing the manpower, the skill of organizing the resource given, because resource is limited. Most of the resources were collected from our civil, our people in terms of taxpayer. Right. The clothes, the equipment, what will be given was even paid from the community as a taxpayer. So the leader should have to be consolidate all this material, number one. Secondly, the human power. The human power given to our military leader is given the most expensive human element. The most expensive, because the one who sacrificed is given to him to protect his life, his precious life. But as you know, you may give your life, or you may give your business, or you may give your equipment, or any precious metal for your brother, or for father or sister, but you couldn't give your life. So the leader should have to be protected this one. That is a very important. So the leader have such a kind of skill capability to protect his military life, to organize the material equipment, and that they know where this military and the material should be played on the ground. Wow. Okay. Because this material equipment is the gunfire. He has to know how it will be used. So in the training concept, there is a so-called a rule of engagement. They know how to engage, how you protect. The material you used is very precious, very accurate, so that can differentiate enemy from all of these different things. So the soldiers, our commanders, also learn this kind of concept in this war college. Wow. Not only that, they have to know the civilian psycho mentality where he's playing the game. Yeah. Because the people have different culture, different kind of psycho approach. Some of them were Muslim, some of them were Christian, different background. So he has to know what kind of psychological culture they have. So the soldier or the commander has to know all these elements. If he doesn't know this, he is not any more commander. Wow. So our college equip all this kind of a very important element of commander to play a ground in his country, out of his country, wherever, and depending on his own national interests. That is what I wanted to say.
Ethiopia is found in this volatile region, which is plagued by different issues. There is terrorism, there is pirate, things like that. Also, there is different interests from different parts and parties. So in this regard, how would you describe the level of the preparedness of the bravery of the National Defense Force of Ethiopia? And also, how do you describe the roles played by the National Defense Force of Ethiopia, especially in the peacekeeping missions of AMISOM in the AU and the United Nations?
Thank you very much. Regarding with the preparedness of with different stakeholder and the partner, in this regard, to be frank, our soldiers, especially our commander, knows very well who is who is loving peace, right. Who is not loving a peace, but always creating a business of siege mentality. We know very well the soldier who are engaging or come to the military power is, number one, our selection from the civilian is based on voluntary based, number one. Secondly, after recruiting, he trained or she trained based on our military doctrine, principle, and artists. That is a very important, because this military doctrine, principle, art, guideline is not the same as ex-country. Ethiopia has a unique military doctrine, especially the humanity element, especially the rule of engagement, especially the rules, norms, values, cultures. All these were given in the military section. So he knows very well. Not only that, again, he knows the material, the equipment given, how it protects themselves, and how it is fighting with other enemies. So in the playing game, our military soldiers know with those of key players who are poisoning our people on the ground. We know very well. So in that regard, really so far, our soldiers perform a good performance very well. This is to be justifying you, especially during the conflict between the federal government with our North TPLF brothers, our soldiers playing a great role. Right. Pacifying the environment, playing with a peaceful approach until the political engagement come on board, especially the political leaders request for peace, reconciliation in a very good approach. But if they do not accept, our soldiers playing a great role in that regard. Most of them sacrifice for this, appreciate their life. So that is one of the things. So after the signing agreements, even what happening here in there in our country, our soldiers playing a great role to pacify, to resolve all these issues with administration organ, with police, with other security organs. So in that regard, really, in this volatile issue, our soldiers playing a great role. In that regard, I wanted to appreciate even our civilian, our people, our even media, even our think tank play a great role. How our soldiers playing a great role with a neutrality. This is also one of a very concept. During the reform, what was given the red line was our military personnel is free from any politics, free from any mindset like so-called any partnership,
no
affiliation. Yeah. That is a red line given to our soldiers. So now we are doing what is given to our mandate, and we know what is not given. So in this regard, our soldiers keep playing a key role on the ground. That is what I wanted to say. Regarding with the peacekeeping mission, to be frank, during the 1950s, from Korean War up to now, up to Somalia, in Congo, in Liberia, Rwanda, in DRC, even in South Sudan, Abyei, our soldiers playing a great role. For example, in Sudan, Abyei, our soldiers deployed there for the first time in principle of UN Security Resolution, especially during peace enforcement, in the peace fighting. Neighbor countries should never agree upon neighbor country deploy in the same country. So at that time, I remember for the first time, Ethiopia is deploying from neighbor country to pacify the two brother countries. This is a great story, number one. Secondly, in Somalia, our soldiers playing a great role in degrading Al-Shabaab, in the terrorism, in the radicalism. So in that regard, our soldiers playing a great role, to be frank. Not only that, because our soldiers train here in home country, in peacekeeping center, in pre-deployment approach. We have a peace deployment center, a peacekeeping center, who train our military observer, number one. Secondly, pre-deployment center, our soldiers deployed in a mission area, having the concept of peacekeeping concept, peace deployment concept, rule of engagement concept, protection of human rights concept, all these things. Wow. That is the pre-deployment center in Warsaw. Not only that, after completing his training, we have also a post-deployment training center. Because our soldiers there staying for 1 year, 2 years, they have to come to home country in the engaging the environmental refreshment of mind to deploy in the unit, number one. Secondly, once he's stayed there, because he wanted to engage his home country with his family, again, we wanted to give them a refreshment course. No one given such kind of a peacekeeping center so far. Because, for example, in Ghana, Accra, there is a Kofi Annan peacekeeping training center. There is no such kind of training there. But no one told this kind of story, wow, to be frank. So, in our peacekeeping center, we have a military observer training center in Jalmeda. We have a pre-deployment training center in Warsaw. The same, a post-deployment training center. So our soldiers deployed in mission area, playing a great role with an umbrella of UN Mission Deployment Center, as well as the rule of engagement in home country as well. So our soldiers played with a great role with respect of human dignity, human right protection, with all things. Wow. Why I bring this issue is sometimes most of our media and some people or some interpreters misinterpret our soldiers as if we are such a kind of damaging the human dignity. This is a false information. I am telling you the truth because unfortunately I am also getting an opportunity to deploy in Somalia as a military, as a chief of staff. I know where our soldiers are deploying. Okay. This is my witness.
So you have first-hand information?
Yeah, a first-hand information. Even when I was deploying in Liberia as a military observer, our soldiers playing a great role with a community in the center. Okay. So they know how to protect the humanity elements. Those of displaced person, those of handicapped people. Sometimes our soldiers share their own food, build mosque, build school, roads, dig hole, water for community. This is how our soldiers playing a great role in peacekeeping mission here in home country as well as in peacekeeping mission. So not only that, nowadays there is some confusion how the Somalian were discarding the role of an Ethiopian peacekeeping center, which is unacceptable. Unacceptable. I remember when Al-Shabaab in the ICU came in power, our soldiers brought this head of government to the power by bringing from other country to the home, by degrading Al-Shabaab. I know in Mogadishu, where there is always destabilizing, there is always VBIDs, IEDs, explosive devices. In Baidwa, in Beledweyne, in Jubaland, our soldiers sacrifice a lot for these things. But nowadays, Somalia is playing a game with our historical enemy, especially Egypt, by imposing and discarding the key playing of our Ethiopian playing what has been said there. Especially, I remember our soldiers were killed with VBIDs, with explosive devices, because of Al-Shabaab planned this kind of ID here in the desert, everywhere. I'm telling you the truth. But this government is now denying all these activities by saying Ethiopia soldiers is nothing, but they were not no more a peacekeeping in upcoming mission of after Artemis, post-Artemis. But this is unacceptable, whether he like or not. Ethiopia is protecting his own national interests, not only in Somalia, even when Ethiopia's national interest is at stake. We're going to defend whether in X or Y point we cannot ask anyone. This is our stand. So peacekeeping mission means you are not keeping the mission in peace, but sometimes you keep a peace by peace enforcement. This is what international security discourse is talking about. So our political leaders have such a kind of guideline. We are soldiers also, especially me also. I am very eager to see what is going on in the future, because Ethiopia is one of the big countries who share a community with our neighbor countries, who share all resources to our neighbor countries. We share water resources to our neighbor countries. We share culture to our neighbor countries. We share language to our neighbor countries. Ethiopia is already giving all things. What we take from others, nothing take from our neighbor countries. Yeah. So really, everyone should have to respect this big country. If no one respects our country, in the piracy and a kind of infiltration, doing such kind of things, whether we like or not, we are going to protect our national interests with our all things, all in the means, in the ways.
Commandant of Defense War College, Brigadier General Bulti Tadesse, thank you so much for giving me this great idea, which is really eye-opener when it comes to some of the major activities that your college is doing. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I'm also very happy.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we come to the end of today's program. Many thanks to you as well for having been with us so far. Until I see you next time with yet another program, it's a goodbye from me, Shifaralak.